How many quotes in a paragraph? For each of your paragraphs, I would have 3 to 4 quotes that you are analyzing. Okay, so 3 to 4 quotes. If you have 3 body paragraphs, I would aim to have 4 quotes. You can have multiple quotes in the same sentence though, okay? 12 quotes in total for an essay. So think about it like that. 12 quotes in total, rule of thumb for an essay. So if you have 3 body paragraphs, then you want to have 4 pieces of evidence in each one. But if you are a slower writer, you'll find that if you time that out, you probably can't do that in 32 to 34 minutes. So maybe you'll have 3. So I would recommend at least 3 quotes per body paragraph, no matter what, unless you are going way over time and you're not going anywhere close to 34 minutes when you write out the draft. Then you might have to consider removing one of those 3 quotes in one of the paragraphs. I would advise if you're going to take an extra quote out in any of the paragraphs, do it in your last paragraph because that's the last thing the marker reads. You obviously want to make a good impression. So make sure you've got everything in that first body and the second body. And if you have to remove some things like a link sentence or you can only have 2 quotes in one of the paragraphs because of time, then make sure you're taking things out from the third body paragraph. But make sure you're not just using quotes for techniques. Make sure you can try and integrate quotes in a more subtle way where it actually becomes part of your effect. So when you're explaining the purpose of a technique in a different quote, you can then integrate another quote from the text to kind of add or complement your explanation of that technique. Okay, so you can use quotes in 2 different ways. And I have a video on this, but you can use quotes in 2 different ways. You can use the quote as an example of a technique and then write about that. Or you can use a quote to kind of complement what you already wanted to say about a different quote. So there are 2 ways to use quotes. Just on that note about quotes here, what if you can't write out 12 quotes worth of analysis? My paragraphs are 3 to 350 words. Clinton, that is really long and that's concerning. Your paragraphs, guys, should not be 300 to 350 words. That is so bulky that they're going to be like 2 written pages each. And that just means you're not being concise. I would say even if you're doing a 3 body paragraph structure, so you have an intro, 3 bodies, and a conclusion, I can't imagine why you would need to have more than 250 words maximum in a body paragraph. When I'm working with students, and these include students who are ranked first in their year group, they're coming first right now going into the HSC, we're looking at doing 200 to 250 in words in each of the body paragraphs for a 3 body paragraph. So 3 to 350, you really need to consider cutting everything down, Clinton. That's why you can't write out 12 quotes worth of analysis because you've got so many other sentences that don't need to be there. You just need to go through very methodically and have a look at this even here, Clinton. Like if you guys have a body paragraph, here's how I would lay out body paragraphs. Hopefully this is useful for you. Body paragraph structure. You should all do this. Go through and you basically want to have a topic sentence, just one sentence, okay? And then what you want to do is you want to have 3 sentences or 3 to 4 sentences followed by a link sentence where you link to the question, right? So that's 6 sentences in total. So I think you should go back through and really consider how you can make each sentence more concise and efficient in terms of expressing what you want to say. So you have a topic sentence. That's where you say the idea, you introduce the idea. And then here you want to go straight into form, something about form or context, plus your first technique, your first specific technique. So maybe you say, I'll give you an example of that. So maybe you say something like, facilitated by the dramatic form, really simple one if you're studying a play, the soliloquy or the kind of use of personification in random character, Shylock's soliloquy, random example, but you can see what I'm doing there is I am going straight into the technical analysis. So if you're someone who's got too many words in each paragraph, go back through your evidence and actually ask yourself, how efficient am I being in terms of getting to the point here? So facilitated by the dramatic form, there's our form bit. We could also say, I sometimes like things like reflecting the patriarchal values of Elizabethan society. Like that's just an example. It's an example. I'm not saying that's the one you have to use of a clause. It's a clause, right? It's the opener. It's the opening part after your topic sentence. So once you say what the key idea is, you can then say reflecting the patriarchal values of Elizabethan society. So that's clearly to do with context. Or you can do facilitated by the dramatic form. That's the form bit. So you can do one of those two and you can alternate those, and you can even do them multiple times in the same paragraph. But what you do after that clause is you then bring in the technique here. So the use of personification, as he asserts, and then you can like do the quote, and then you go to your, then you explain what it means, emphasizes, da da da. This is what it emphasizes. Okay, cool. That's my first point. Next one. And you do 4 of those and you do 3 paragraphs of those. So hopefully that helps you with the structure there. Look, if you can't write out 12 quotes worth of analysis in the way that I'm showing you, although as I said, I think you can cut out at least 100 words from each of your bodies by the sounds of it. If you just go back and restructure things and use this dot point format as well to break things up, because it will allow you to more easily see each component. If you've got your essays there and you need to cut words down, don't leave them in bulky paragraphs altogether. I split up each sentence. I look at each sentence individually. So I have the topic sentence and the links by themselves, and then I have dot points for each of the middle sentences. And that way I can really see, okay, how many words do I actually need to make this point? Okay, and more often than not, you'll find that you might have 2 or 3 sentences on the same point, and you can reduce that to 1 sentence by just writing the sentence in a more structured, purposeful way, like I've just shown you.